Okay. Okay. Okay, we are moving into our discussion items. So first one is our call for posting nomination.
So every year, the BOCES will share their request for nominations for open seats. And the BOCES, last year we had one from Olean and did elect who nominated someone who was elected for that. And so this year they're sending out nominations for the open seat for the BOCES. That's for the BOCES board? Yes.
Yeah. That's 2 seats, right?
They're not in our area.
They are not in our areas. Have the ability to. No, I didn't.
I don't know. I don't have access to any of the agenda.
Board members shall be elected to serve. Okay.
Completely. I just have the option to join the meeting or download an agenda, but I don't have any of the attachments or anything.
Are you going in as
I
public
thought-
or are
I
you
know, I
going
logged in.
as logged in?
Leave and go
Yeah,
back.
for some reason, if I go in logged in, I can't access those.
Here it is.
Maybe if you log out. Yeah.
We have Ralph, Kurt, Charlie Davis, Bill Colton. Brian Parker. We have to pick somebody, or we're just acknowledging this?
At this point, we're not.
Any questions on that?
No,
No.
just that whole year, right?
Okay, we will move forward to the capital project update. Okay. So for those of you who were at the Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting, this is the committee that we reviewed there. I'm not gonna go over this line by line, but just to give you an idea of the steps that we're taking for the capital project. So as you know, in summer, the architects and our construction team presented a proposed capital project to all of you. While the scope of that has stayed the same since then, there's a lot of work that has been done to initiate the project. So this is, you know, as we'll call it, the administrative period of it, where we do a lot of the legal things that you have to do to get a capital project up and going. On January 31st, we initiated the seeker review process. Sent all of the documentation out to other municipalities and constituents that may have an interest in our project to make sure that they don't have any major concerns. Tonight, you'll be voting on a resolution to appoint the Board of Registration. So small city schools are required to have personal registrations at all of their, at our capital project vote and the budget vote. So this will identify the date and the individuals who, will be conducting that, personal registration. Our construction team met today and we talked about the marketing of the capital project and the steps that we're going to do, moving forward. Next week, we will start to initiate some of those, things that we discussed today. There will be a short article coming out in the newsletter as well. On March 4th at our next Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting, I will be showing you and presenting to you the resolution for that capital project. They can get very wordy, very long, and the legal lingo can be a little confusing. So I want to go over it at Buildings and Grounds to make sure that there's no questions before the entire board acts on it on November or March 18th, whatever. March 18th. And then our community presentations will begin the week of March 31st is the goal. Today, we talked about it in more detail. We'll be doing presentations at both Eastview and Washington West, as well as the high school. So there will be 3 big presentations that people can come to. We'll also have some other things going on. In the meantime, we're gonna be doing podcasts. We have our website set up so that we can share information there with people. We'll be pushing things out through social media, our newsletters. We'll also be doing budget mailers to all of the residents as well. So lots of opportunities to learn about that next capital project and how we got to this point. Any questions?
On March 4th, should we just keep that agenda open for the Buildings and Grounds, just to focus on reviewing that or?
We can.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there will be time for other things if need be, but that would be the bulk of it.
Okay.
And by then too, I'll probably have some more of the marketing materials to share with you.
Okay. Yeah.
If we have your budget update. Share that. Mike's more impressed that I got it tonight than I am. Okay. All right, so tonight I'm going to go over a portion of our budget presentation. So for those of you who are in audit and finance, some of this will be repetitive, but we also have some new information to share with you as well. And the first thing that I want to do is outline how we're moving forward in the budget development process. Obviously, every presentation we do, every aspect of the budget that we're doing rolls back to the goals of the district and what are we here for? What is it that we're focusing on? And the first thing that we have is our enrollment and staffing. Obviously, when our, you know, the biggest asset of our district are the people here. And it accounts for about 64-ish% of our overall budget. Maybe closer to about 66 this year. So that's a huge chunk of our budget. And one thing that Dr. Irizarry and the administrative team and I have been doing is staffing analysis this year to really drill down to where are the areas that we need additional support in, where are areas that maybe we could be more efficient on, and what are the things moving forward that we need to best support our students. So that's really what we've been spending a great deal of time on over the last few months. We will present that at the March Audit and Finance Committee meeting with some additional recommendations that we have. Also taking into consideration our special education plan that we developed last year, the 5-year plan, and aligning some of the staffing and program needs to that long-term plan as well. tonight we'll go over some of the budget assumptions and the cost drivers that are impacting our budget this year. And then, I will also review the revenue side of the budget, particularly the governor's proposal for foundation aid. And as you can see, Thursday in audit finance, we'll predominantly be going over bus purchases and additional areas of the expense side of the budget. So focusing on revenues tonight, more of the expenses Thursday, and then at the March meetings, more areas of the budget. Instructional budget, special education, athletics, a lot of that instructional side of it. Okay. So as always, we start off with our mission and our vision statement. This is a slide that you've seen a lot. But again, it's what we're here, it's what we're working towards. And really, trying to work on creating that positive culture, both for our students and our staff. And making sure that every student has the opportunity to succeed regardless of the program they're in, the grade level they're at, or what their end desire is for when they leave Olean City Schools. And using the data that we have provided to us to make those decisions. You know, this year, Jen Mahar can attest to probably, God, she sends me one more email asking for more percentages. But we're really drilling down to see what are the trends and where are we moving forward. And again, providing that progressive and enriching learning for all of our students. But a big key to that is, to the success of our students, is the parents too. And, providing all the support that we can both in and outside of school. So I want to start off by just looking at our enrollment numbers. This is the comparison from 23-24 to 24-25. And while there were a little bit of changes within each grade level, overall, we didn't have a drastic, we really didn't have a drastic decrease here. As you can see, our pre-K numbers, are still low. They went really low at the beginning of COVID, and we've never really recovered from that. That's something that we're keeping a close eye on. And how does that build into our kindergarten numbers? I believe, around 73% of our kindergarten students come from our pre-K program feeds them. Also keeping a close eye on the Head Start program, and with the federal funding challenges, what does that mean going forward for our pre-K program? So keeping a close eye on our enrollment. This slide just shows you the breakdown per building. One thing this does not include are the number of students in our BOE classes that are hosted in our district. So for instance, Washington West has BOE hosted classrooms that adds about an additional 40 to 50 students in that building alone. Those are not included in the numbers.
Do we have some in Williams as well?
We do. So we have two classrooms. I think we're down to one classroom at Williams. I think we're down to one at Williams and one at the high school.
Because we brought many of those.
Yep, and we have 5 at Washington West. So this slide here starts some of the discussions comparing student and staff ratios. So the orange bars here identify the number of FTEs that we have on the instructional side of the house. So teachers, librarians, counselors, any of our teaching staff or the individuals that make up the instructional side of the house that we have. So orange identifies that. So as you can see, we have had an increase over the years in FTEs, but what we're really focusing on is the student to staff ratio, and that's the blue line that you see there. Okay. The blue line identifies the student to staff ratio each year. So you can see that has gradually declined. 2023 was sort of an outlier. That was the year that we were going through transitions within our HR office. Mr. Wolf left. We had some transitional positions within there. Dr. Irizarry came on board. We didn't have a significant hiring for that year. So that's why you see the big dip there. but ultimately it increases our student to staff ratios. If we look at the next slide, this one really explains a lot more. While you can't see the numbers from there, I just want to point out what the lines stand for. That orange line is the change in our student enrollment over the years. So it's the percentage change. So this compares it all the way back to 2009. And it identifies the change in enrollment each year. So from 2009 to 2024, our student enrollment has decreased almost 26%.
That's the orange line?
That's the orange line. So overall enrollment has decreased 26%. The blue line is the change in FTEs or full-time equivalent instructional positions. So you can see that decreased at the same rate, that decreased roughly at the same, scale. However, then it sort of leveled off. Again, we see that anomaly in 2023. And then it spiked back up last year when we were finally able to hire a lot more of the staff that we hadn't hired the year before. What I want to point out though, is while the orange line identifies all of the enrollment, the pink line identifies the special ed enrollment. So you will see our overall enrollment decreased by 26%. However, our special ed enrollment has not decreased to that level at all. The special ed enrollment has actually, in a lot of situations, and we only have the data going back to 2013, the special ed enrollment has increased in many situations. So while we're looking at the comparison of our FTEs, we really have to take into consideration that special education portion of our population. Obviously, these are students who typically require a smaller student to staff ratio. A lot of those are governed by various laws and regulations. So I think that's the key that we have to keep in mind as we're making this comparison, is what impact is that special education enrollment having on the need for our staff? So this is one of the big things that we're looking at moving forward. And this has been a big focus on our staff analysis, as well as our special education programming in the long range plan for special education service.
Yeah, I really think that's something we need to examine in a lot more detail. Cause I get what you're saying, but that really speaks to me, that decrease in enrollment and that spike in instructional positions.
So keep in mind, so what this says, so from 2009 to 2024, it's decreased at just 10% compared to the enrollment numbers. So what we're working on with a staffing analysis is how are we going to project this going forward? And that's what we're trying to do long-term, is make sure that we're aligning those needs. It's difficult to change your enrollment, so we have to make sure that everything is reflected with
Oh,
that.
absolutely. And I know we brought back, again,
Yes.
we brought those 15-to-1 classrooms back, so we obviously needed staffing
Right.
for those.
Yep, and that is a key to keep in mind as well. So we brought back 39 students last year. So while we bring those back, that includes, having to have the staff for that. While that doesn't change the enrollment numbers, because there's still special education enrollment, whether they're at BOCES or here. But what changes is the need for the additional staff. If they were at BOCES, those individuals wouldn't be counted in our staff numbers.
Those staff.
Now, is this something that, I don't know if you guys have looked at comparing other districts in the area, like, I don't know, based on region or county or like similar type of districts? Is it something that's a trend that's all around, or is it something?
The special education part?
Yeah, and just
for sure.
enrollment
Yeah.
for, special.
So
education.
there's only three districts in the CA BOCES region over the last decade who have had an enrollment increase. So only three. One particular district that we looked at.
Overall, you're saying.
Yeah, yep, so overall, there's only three that have had a increase over the last decade. There's one district we looked at, their enrollment has changed by 100%.
So I know that there's a lot more involved to special
Sure.
education than just those staff,
Absolutely.
that everybody in the building teaches them. But is there a way to parse out the special education, the dedicated special education staffing? So that we can see how, and
Sure.
then change the table, so we
graph.
see
Yeah, we
that
can-
those different. And then the overall,
So split out,
Yep.
FTE and FPE numbers based on how many special ed, how many gen ed,
Yeah.
and then maybe how many combined together.
Yeah.
Yep, we
I
can
think
do
that increase
that.
in staffing is gonna be primarily special ed.
Yep, we can do that and present it as part of our March.
Yeah.
Staff analysis.
Yeah, yeah.
And is that ratio to it again for 2024, Jenny, is that combining both the purple, like, is it factoring in both when it comes to staffing?
Yep.
Versus the enrollment for both, okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It does also include, teaching assistants as well, which we have added several of.
Yeah, which we're happy to add.
Yes,
by the way.
absolutely.
Yes.
But
Yeah, it's
those
been a
were
great
good-
addition.
Those were good hires.
Yeah.
Good positions that our district created.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So just quickly looking here at our assumptions that we're using for the budget development going forward. I'm not gonna go over all of these, but just I wanna hit on a few of them. Foundation aid, based on current law, we would get a $472,000 increase in foundation aid. I've updated a few slides ahead to show you what the governor's proposal is and based on the Rockefeller report. Tax levy, that's something that we still have to analyze a little closer and see how we want to adjust that moving forward, along with our reserves. Building aid is pretty set there based on our capital project. Unfortunately, the state still doesn't have it updated in their system as of this morning, but they'll get there. BOCES aid continues to increase. We look at that over a 5-year average because as we spend more with BOCES, our BOCES aid goes up as well. Looking at probably maintaining a constant fund balance, appropriated fund balance, and then looking at our overall revenues as well. The expenditures is really an area that we're focusing on a lot. Obviously analyzing that enrollment and salaries and aligning the two. Health insurance, we're predicting a 10% increase. Everything we're hearing is that it's going to be lower than that. We'll know for sure the second week of March. We're hoping, fingers crossed, that it's about half of that increase. TRS is going up and so too is ERS. Those are the retirement benefits. Special education, reviewing 3-year plan, making sure we're aligning with that and identifying if there are needs to adjust that. Moving forward. BOCES, obviously looking at trends there. Our team met with the Erie 1 BOCES yesterday, and 2 weeks ago we met with CA BOCES and looking at, reviewing services to see if we need to have all of them or not. Technology might continue to do its 5-year projections for equipment replacement. Our debt service is set. Fortunately, we're not changing any debt schedules this year, so that's fortunate. Maintaining our $100,000 capital outlay project that will consist of replacing more LED lights at OIMS. Transportation budget continues to be another area that we see increases in, primarily due to wage increases. And additional locations in which we're transporting students. We continue to transport a handful of students well out of the area. Utilities continue to increase. I'm really looking closely at this one though, to really see how much have we already budgeted and do we need to increase it that full 20%. And continuing to look at grants to see if there are more that we can, take advantage of, and then program changes in general. Some of the cost drivers, as I just indicated, personnel costs, personnel and benefits, you know, looking between 64-66% of our budget. BOCES costs, utility costs, and transportation are the biggest cost drivers of our budget right now. So let's take a quick look at the governor's proposal. And what I want to show you here is point out what you see in publications for what we're getting, but what, from a budget perspective, we have to compare it to when we put it out to the voters. So our adopted budget last year, as you can see, is $38.8 million. The actual revenue we're getting is $38.5 million. So slightly less, about $353,000 less than what we budgeted is what we're actually getting. So we have to take that into consideration. When the executive proposals come out though, those are compared to what we're actually getting. So it looks like a bigger increase, but we have to compare it in all of our stuff to what we budgeted for. So, obviously the governor has proposed $27.6 million. That's the governor's proposal. We don't know if that will come to fruition or not. I'll go into it a little further in the next few slides as to what's driving that increase. Excess cost aid, as you can see, that's dipping down from 1.2 to 1 million. We anticipated this though, as we bring more kids back to the district, less number of kids are high cost. So as the cost for them goes down, so too does the aid. But at the end of the day, that's planned for, like that is the goal. BOCES aid, going up slightly because we have a little bit more services that we've purchased from them. Transportation aid, you can see a big jump there. Again, not a surprise. You've seen some of the contracts we've done and the additional costs that we're incurring. That's an expense driven aid. As that cost goes up, so too does our aid. Yes.
It's okay, that's.
Sure, yeah.
I'm just curious, so with regards to the BOCES, so you, even if you don't use any services, you still pay a certain percentage towards being a member of BOCES, right?
Certain programs, so they have a base cost or certain programs to be in.
Now, is that set by the state or is that set by BOCES?
So the individual amount is set by the BOCES.
And that's probably not like a
Not really, so the board for each school vote on the administrative portion of the BOCES. But the rest of it is determined essentially by them figuring out their entire cost and then they split it up.
Okay.
What they split it up by is essentially, what you guys approved at the last meeting, the cost methodology. They split it up based on that. So some of it is based on resident weighted average daily attendance or WADA. Some of it's based on the number of schools, some of it's just based on the number of students. So the cost is split up based on the participation in a lot of situations. Yeah, yeah. And then other things such as our building aid is there. We anticipate about 5.9 million there. Textbook hardware technology, slight decrease there. That is primarily driven by enrollment numbers. So as enrollment decreases, so too does that number. Okay. Lastly here, I want to just talk really quick. So we see a big jump in foundation aid. And for those of you who were at the legislative breakfast on Saturday, don't worry, I'm not going through that whole presentation again.
Do it.
So there are a few aspects of it that I want to talk about. Two of the pieces of the foundation aid formula that the governor is proposing we use out of the million that were in the report, two that she's recommending we use, do have a significant impact on our district. The first one is we're replacing that census data from 2000 with the small area income poverty estimates, or what we refer to as SAFE. So in 2000, that number was 440. The SAFE number for us is 576. This is a 3-year average that they take. So this increase for us is 30.91%. And essentially what that's saying is, you know, if we look at poverty information from 2000 versus now, it's gone up 31%. If you think of that realistically, you think that's probably true. I mean, look around us in Olean, there's definitely that poverty percentage has increased. The fact that we were using 2000 data from 2000, in a formula in 2024 is ridiculous. So this is a good change that is coming about of that. And I can't imagine the legislative budget coming out with not using this particular data. I mean, that's one of the biggest things we look for. So keep in mind, that's a 3-year average. Then the other aspect that we're using is the recommendation to replace free and reduced price lunch with economically disadvantaged numbers. Again, we don't typically use free and reduced price numbers anymore because we're a CEP school, as most schools are. Nobody even collects that data anymore. It's very antiquated. So what they're doing here is taking a 3-year sum. So the total free and reduced price numbers for 3 years were 1,706. Economically disadvantaged numbers are 3,192. For us, that's a drastic increase, 87% increase. So 87% more of our students are showing up as truly economically disadvantaged than the free and reduced numbers are showing, because we just don't use those free and reduced numbers. That one is having the biggest impact on that foundation aid increase.
Question. Yeah, when you say 3-year sum,
Yeah, means explain that.
individuals, children, they're not counted 3 times if they're in it for 3 years, right?
Correct.
These are
No, so
unique-
they take 3 years worth of, so
How many students were involved in it, meet this
each of
parameter?
the 3 years added together.
Adding together, okay.
Yep. Yeah. So, so to me, this number is definitely a lot more realistic, because I can tell you, when we did our, CEP renewal this year, we had, I believe, an average of 69 or 72% of our families that qualified for either Medicaid, food stamps, some type of benefit like that, between 69, I think, and 72%, I believe. So to me, that makes more sense when we're looking at the 3,192 versus if you take 1,700 divided by 3, I mean, you're looking, a third of our enrollment really on average, like that's clearly not accurate, knowing that, almost 70% of our students get some type of direct certification benefit. So to me, this number is much more reflective. I just wish they would have used these numbers for the last 10 years and we'd be a lot better off than where we are.
Yep.
And that's the key. And that's the message that we need to push to all. Is we appreciate, you should have used these numbers for the last 10 years, but thank you. And let's hope these come to fruition with a legislative proposal. So keep in mind, we're hoping by April 1st, the budget is approved in Albany, and these are more reflective of the numbers we get. Question?
I think you did a great job with the presentation. I mean, obviously tonight, but also at the legislative breakfast. I know that the majority of us here were at that legislative breakfast, so, we've gotten it twice.
Yeah.
I know,
Nobody
but
else did.
that's okay. Good. No, so I mean, every time you explain it, I think I understand it a little better. No, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Mhm.
Jenny.
I'm gonna stop
We're
sharing.
gonna move into the board report. So the first thing that I have for our board report is we did do a board retreat on January 28th. We went over mandatory reporting, so everybody who was in the board retreat, I believe we are now certified mandated reporters.
Some of us.
Um,
4, 5, 6.
We had an update and a planning session for how we're gonna finalize our policy review, and I know yesterday that began in the operations committee meeting, so that is moving forward and has an expected finish date soon. And we also, that's all we did. We had a long session with our legal representatives. And then we had the Allegheny Cattaraugus School Board Association legislative breakfast this past weekend. Many of us were there. There was a nice breakfast, and then we listened to presentations. Dr. Morris presented to everybody there about the Olean School District cell phone policy. And we had a presentation from Jenny on the foundation aid, similar to what she just did now. And then we heard from two of our local representatives, George Borello and Joseph Linsky, and from the other guys. From the Allegheny representative. It's kind of George's co-part. So we heard from all of them. They spoke extensively more on electric buses. And hopefully next year you won't hear about electric buses and you'll hear about education instead. So that would be my preference because I've heard their speech on electric buses multiple times now. So that was the legislative breakfast. It was good, worth going to if you chance to go again next year. So lastly, for our board report, I have a statement here to read. And this is just giving out some information for anybody who has seen anything recently and been questioning what's going on. So the Board of Education has recently received email correspondence regarding pending litigation matters. We are also aware of posts and comments on social media regarding the district and in reference to these matters. As we hope you understand, we're not at liberty to discuss specific details regarding pending litigation. Additionally, applicable laws such as FERPA prohibit us from disclosing records or discussing specific student matters. We feel it's important to acknowledge these communications and to share that while much of the information being shared on social media is simply inaccurate, the safety and security of all of our students and staff is among the highest priorities of the board and the district administration. The district will be addressing each matter in the proper forum, and we appreciate your confidence and trust in us as we do so. Just like to put that out there and let you know we know and we hear and have seen what's going on. So that being said, we're going to move into the superintendent's report.
And I have a few things I want to share. So want to thank everyone again for their participation in Allegheny Cataract School Board breakfast that we had. We had it here and it was a great event. Wonderful event that supported our teams here. We had lots of balloons. Thank you to the students for that. And we had we had a great musical accompaniment. Everyone who showed up was amazing and really impressed by the hosting of our building. So thank you so much to that. Thank you to Kelly, Mary, Ricky, Betty, Renee, and Tatiana who showed up. And everyone on the team who made it a success. Thank you to Jenny for her presentation that day. Thank you so much to Jackie for helping everybody get in the right place at the right time. We also had an Allegheny Cattaraugus Superintendent's Association Conference retreat, and that was on January 30th. So I don't know if you're aware, but at some point last year, when I wasn't looking, I like to say I was appointed president of that association. So my first main thing that I had to do was help coordinate that retreat, and it was very beneficial to everyone. It really brings along the regional superintendents from the area together to kind of discuss regional things that we have going on. So we were able to learn from Dr. Dennis Shirley, who is a professor at Boston College. And we also had several different presentations, several different vendors who help share the work that they can do to support our work regionally. And all the feedback that I received was that it was very well received. So that was a great event that happened as well on January 30th. And then I want to make two announcements. One is for No Child Eats Alone. That's going to be on February 14th. So No Child Eats Alone. We do this every year, and this is at Olean. We would love to have you participate. in No Child Eats Alone. It is a national initiative to bring student communities together during lunchtime, ensure that no students eat alone. It is a great event. Typically I attend every single year, and every single student really has the opportunity to speak and engage with an adult. We have not Sabertooth, we have the St. Bonaventure mascot there.
Right.
We have our pesky there. We have just such great engagement, and the kids are so happy to have us there. So I encourage everyone who can participate in that. Please register with Sharkop or Karen Woodring as well, to let them know that you'll be coming, so that we can make sure that we accommodate you. But it's a great event, and you'll just love the joy that's in that cafeteria that day. And then finally, we have something that's going to be upcoming. It's going to be called our Olean Future Forum. It's preparing the next generation for the workplace and the world. We're very excited that we want to encourage feedback and participation in this forum, and it will be held from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Wednesday, March 19th in the OHS cafeteria. We want as many people as possible to participate, support this event, but we encourage you to register, because we will have a light dinner, and we need to make sure we are able to accommodate anyone who's there and who is invited. Anyone impacted by our student success, such as students, parents, or guardians, board members, business leaders, school staff, political representatives, and community members. So once again, we will have a light dinner, so we really encourage people to register, and we have to do a first come, first serve as far as capacity. So we encourage you to register sooner rather than later, because we really want all of our voices for this particular really important feedback event. So please register by March 12th so that we can get a good count and prepare for you to participate in this important event.
I did see the notice went out about that on Parent Square. It might be good to send something out clarifying that this is not meant just for like parents of high schoolers. I know it says in there that it's meant for all members of the community, but I had parents at Eastview the other night asking me what this was and why, you know, because the way it's worded is the future and preparing for career. They thought it was towards high school aged kids, and they didn't think it applied to them. So
Okay,
just to clarify that it's elementary all the way up. And I did tell them, I said, sign up anything, but
thank you for that feedback. We will make sure the message goes out that it's for anybody who is interested in chiming in this important conversation. That's everybody, prepaid. So thank you, and I appreciate everybody who can participate, and that's all I have for my report.
I think that's a really awesome idea.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
And
excited.
thank you for a lot. I had lots of ideas, including from Kelly, about an opportunity to have people be able to just kind of talk about what's important to us. It's kind of analogous to the process that we did with the strategic
Yeah,
plan.
it is, yeah.
So it will be facilitated in a similar fashion. So if you really enjoyed going through the strategic planning process with us, here's your opportunity to do it again. So we encourage everyone to
Okay, my report. Starting off with, the Winter Weekend Assembly and Dance, it turned out really well. I think we had a lot of students who, came and had a lot of fun. Also, I'm on student council, so I got to go help them set up, which was fun. And we had lots of balloons, but it's like a balloon art thing that we
It was a
had to-
tunnel. It was.
Yeah, it was a tunnel, yeah, that took a lot of hard work, but it was worth it. The assembly, they just have like cheerleaders come out and do like their routine. They play games and then they just let us to stay safe and have fun. The next thing on my report is, the Valentine's Day party at Eastview on the 14th. And they're just like having games and activities, so I'm gonna go and volunteer. and go meet some more students, so that should be fun. I always have fun going to Eastview. And then, No One Eats Alone, I'm going on February 14th. During like my free periods, so I'll be there 4th and 5th. Yeah, a lot to do.
Thank you.
Sure. We're gonna move into our committee reports. Can I get a motion to accept those?
Motion.
In a second? Ready? And any discussion on these board reports? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We move into business. The first thing up is Southtown's associate contract. I get a motion to approve that. Ricky,
Yeah.
in a second,
I'll second.
Renee? And any discussion on this contract? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next up is the unit cost methodology. And can I get a motion for that?
Motion.
Kevin and Renee? And any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
Make a motion for the consent agenda.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
We went right to new business. If you want.
Oh,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
sorry,
That's okay.
I'll second it, so.
skipped right over that, one. I didn't even see it in there. Renee and Mary, any discussion on the consent agenda? Sorry, Renee and Ricky.
No.
I thought, I
Discussion.
heard you
I
talk,
know.
I heard Renee's voice and then I heard you say something, I didn't even hear Ricky's voice. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? I feel like I can't see when I have my glasses on, like, I'm a mess with my glasses on, I need to wear my
Right,
contacts.
So I'm, can we just go back? So the unit cost methodology, I'm sorry, I was
Yeah.
just going back like, wait a minute, I think we need to
I have Kevin and Renee.
have it in. All right, excellent, thank you. Now I'm caught up. I'm ready.
And we did the vote for that, so we're gonna move into C, the data privacy resolution. Can I get a motion for that? Patty, in a second,
I'll second.
Mary? And any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? D is the cooperative purchasing annual resolution. Can I get a motion for that? Renee? And Ricky,
I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any abstentions? Next, we have a DECA overnight field trip to Rochester.
So moved.
Mary, in a second. Kevin. Any discussion?
Have fun.
Yeah.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next, we have approval of affiliation agreement with SUNY Empire. Can I get a motion for that? Betty and Ricky second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Next is the approval for tuition reimbursement.
I have a question on this.
Yeah.
I'm not directly benefiting from this because the tuition is being given back to Richard, so I can still vote, correct? Okay,
Yeah, yes, assume.
Yeah.
just wanna make sure.
Yeah, no, good
So we need a
question.
motion for this one,
So I'll make the motion.
in a second. Betty?
Right.
And any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That is moved. Next is the approval for a transportation agreement.
So moved.
A second. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? We have a resolution to authorize the Board of Registration. A motion for that. And second,
I'll second for Patty. No, go ahead, take Patty, you take. it.
Patty. And any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Resolution authorizing the Board of Registration to facilitate the personal registration of eligible voters.
So moved. Seconded.
And any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And now we have the next one that we added. We should have another one, right?
Yes, we should have the one for the, it's an overnight field trip.
I only have one.
So we can do first the RSA conference. Yeah, it's all.
Oh, so we don't have,
Okay, so let's do, yeah, can we do
so
the summer
let's do
conference
number
one?
10, yeah.
Yeah,
the
let's do
summer
that.
conference first.
So the first one, the summer conference is a recommendation that members of the Board of Education be approved to attend the Rural Schools Association of New York 2025 Summer Conference in Lake Placid, New York, on July 13th through the
Yeah.
15th, 2025.
Okay, can I get a motion to,
Motion.
in a second? And any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay. And then the next one, we're adding on number 11 here.
The recommendation would be to approve the application to, for the Model United Nations trip for students to travel overnight to Columbus, Ohio on March 21st, 2025, for 2 nights.
Anybody else want to see this? So can I get a motion?
I think Julio just moved.
I did.
Renee did.
Oh, Renee, oh, I thought Julio said so.
Can I get a second?
Thing coming out cold to my voice.
I guess, I'm sorry.
Does anybody else want to take a look at this before we have our discussion?
Yeah, sure, I'll look at it really quick.
Offer.
I mean, we pretty much know what the model
It's
is.
additional
Yeah.
that goes with that.
Want to look at it?
We're going out on the 21st and coming back on the 23rd, or Friday through Sunday.
Does anybody have any comments or discussion on that?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That has been added.
Fun fact, Hartley Phipps is one of the last year's board student member is on the secretariat of OSU's BOE. It is relatively unheard of for a freshman to be the Hartley secretary.
we'll be seeing partly.
Tell them we said hello. Get a picture.
Yeah.
Get a picture so we can share it.
Are you gonna bring them back? You did last year, you brought some kids in. and we talked about.
With the doctor.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, next up is our personnel action, the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to accept that?
I'll move.
Second,
I'll second.
any discussion on this consent agenda? All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. We will move into our informational item. You can all see when our next upcoming meetings are. And then we have executive session. And we do have a need to go into executive session tonight. Pre-listed it. And I thought I saw it. Number 6. So we are going in for the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. And we will not have anything afterwards. There's not gonna be any decision. So can I get a motion to exit the regular meeting and go into executive session?
I make the motion that we.
And Betty, is the second, and any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, any abstentions? Okay, we're gonna move into executive session. Excellent.